Special coverage.
45 minutos makalipas po ang alas 12 ng magandang tanghali mga kasama. Diretso po tayo sa virtual press conference ng Malacanang at nandyan nakantabay si Dzxl Radyoman 4 Angel Ronquillo. Jeng, go ahead, Jeng.
Yes, Radyoman Rod, kasama nga ni Presidential Spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque, itong si ARTA Director General Jeremiah Belica at maging itong si Health Undersecretary at Treatment Sir Leopoldo Vega. Mga kasama, pakinggan po natin ang virtual press con.
Bilang isang profesor ng international law, you do not enforce an arbitral ruling. An arbitral ruling, ang assumption po sa international law is that all countries will comply with their international obligation, particularly with arbitral awards because they freely consented to the jurisdiction of the arbitral tribunal. So anyway, that's free lesson po on international law for the former Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Sabihin niyo po kung ako ay nagkakamali. Pero wala pa pong way na ma-enforce yan other than yung pagkilala ng mga partido o di naman kaya under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, gagamitin po yung economic or yung dahas military force, pero kinakailangan po yan ng boto ng lahat ng permanent members of the Security Council. I don't think China will agree. A third option is yung Uniting for Peace Resolution. It's a General Assembly. Pero malabo po yan, no? Dahil alam naman natin na napakalaki rin ng impluensya ng China. Kaya nga po sinasabi ko, the existence of the award by itself is its enforcement. Dahil hindi nga po mabubura yan, at gaya po ng sinabi ng Presidente, it now forms part of international law. Ako naman po magbibigay ng unsolicited advice kay Secretary De Rosario as a former professor of international law and president of the Asian Society of International Law.
Second question po niya, how will the President pronouncement affect our relationship with China? Some groups and analysts are wondering if it may signal the end of our friendly ties with China.
Again, the President has been consistent. We will move on matters that we could move forward on, including trade and investments, and we will for the time being set this aside because I don't think the resolution of the territorial dispute is forthcoming in our lifetime. So hayaan muna po natin yan, basta nandyan po ang decision dyan, malinaw kung anong nakasaad sa international law.
From Chris Jose of Remate, reaction po sa sinabi ni dating House Speaker at Davao Representative Pantaleon Alvarez na isang failure ang naging tugon ng administrasyon sa problema sa coronavirus pandemic. Ang sabi po ni Alvarez ay wag na raw magbulahan dahil pataas ang pataas, paakyat ng paakyat pa rin ang COVID-19 positive sa halip daw po na pababa. Dapat daw maging totoo na bigo ang pamahalaan sa pag-approach nito sa problema sa pagkalat ng virus.
Tinawagan ko po si Speaker Alvarez kung nabasa ko yan. Ang sabi niya sa akin na hindi ko pinupulaan si Presidente Duterte. Inoobserbahan ko lang na dumadami yung numbers. Pero sa ngayon po, no, I'm sorry we were not able to show it. No? Pero sa last meeting po namin sa Davao, si Secretary Duque presented figures on the basis of 2-week, yung 2 weeks, ano tawag doon? Hindi, 2 weeks attack rate, pinakita po niya na pababa po ng pababa ang numero. So it's not actually accurate na pataas sa pataas po. No? Even on a daily basis, napapansin naman po natin, bumababa din yung gross figures po ng mga kaso. No? Pero ang importante nga po, sinasabi natin na hindi po ma-breach yung ating critical care capacity dahil importante po mapangalagaan natin ang kalusugan ng mga nagkakasakit ng severe o di naman po kaya ng critical.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Yusek. Tristarada, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Secretary. Sir, dun pa rin po sa speech ng Pangulo sa UN high-level debate because I remember, sir, in the past, the President said na hindi na kailangan dalhin sa UN or i-bring up sa UN itong arbitral award. But what prompted the President, sir, to talk about it before the UN?
Again, I'm sorry, I'll have to educate you. This is in the UN General Assembly. What his critics would want to do is to use the Uniting for Peace mechanism which was employed when Russia vetoed the sending of peacekeeping forces to what was then troubled Congo. No? Of course, the issue there was only the Security Council can can issue Chapter 7 resolutions authorizing the use of force or the creation of UN peacekeeping forces, but the UN General Assembly in the Uniting for Peace resolution for the first time also created the peacekeeping force for the Congo. No? And the ICJ ruled that the Security Council does not have the monopoly. The General Assembly can also do this, at yan po ang gustong mangyari ng kritiko. Ang sinasabi natin, wag na po nating buksan ang usapin na yan dahil yan po ay nakasaad na sa international law. At pangalawa, kung dadaanin po natin yan sa butuhan sa UN General Assembly, political organ po ang General Assembly, hindi gaya ng ICJ, hindi po gaya ng UN Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. Pwedeng matalo po tayo dyan because countries will vote for political and economic reasons. I hope I'm clear on that po.
Okay. Sir, after ng speech ni President, do you think somehow it has already changed the perception of the global audience after he extensively discussed our positions on key issues, specifically, sir, dun po sa human rights? May nag-reach out po ba na bansa or maybe leader reacting or commending the President for his move?
Well, I have only read positive reviews about the President's speech. No? And of course, the human rights community welcomes the fact na sinabi rin ni Presidente, we will continue our dialogue as far as human rights is concerned, even with the UN Human Rights Council. No? So malinaw po yan, handa tayong makipag-usap, handa tayong makinig, handa tayong tumanggap ng mga suhestyon. So I think that was welcomed by the human rights community.
Sir, finally, on another topic, since Boracay will be opening its doors to tourists by October 1, sir, marami pong nagtatanong, kailan daw po mabubuksan yung non-essential travel?
Well, I think for tourism purposes naman po, unti-unti na tayong nagbubukas, no? Dahil alam po natin ang halaga ng turismo. No? Yung pag-allow po ng GCQ areas papunta ng Boracay, I don't think it's just for essential travel. No? It really is for the purpose of tourism. No? So siguro po kinakailangan maging malinaw lang po ang IATF dyan na unti-unti na talaga natin binubuksan ang turismo. And tourism, technically speaking, is non-essential travel.
Sir, how about non-essential travel to and from going in and out of the country po?
Alam nyo, I just got a query from a former ambassador, no? And apparently the DFA no longer has to issue any travel pass to departing Filipinos. So ngayon ko lang po nalaman yan. No? In fact, in our next briefing, siguro iimbitahin natin dito si Undersecretary Dulay, but even if I'm in the IATF, hindi po ata na-inform ng DFA na hindi na kinakailangan kumuha ng any form of permit for Filipinos to go abroad. No? So, yan po ang nalaman ko this morning lamang. Because I inquired on behalf of a former Philippine ambassador who wants to go abroad for medical treatment.
Technically, sir, pwede na po.
Technically, apparently, hindi na kinakailangan kumuha ng permit sa DFA. At although, linilinaw ko po kung anong requirements ng CID kung meron man.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Trish. Back to you, Secretary, please.
From Tina Mendez of Philippine Star, President Duterte daw po welcomed the launch of the UN COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund during his speech at the UN General Assembly last Wednesday. How can the Philippines access the UN COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund? What do we need to fulfill to tap this fund? How far will the Duterte administration commit to become a recipient of this fund?
Well, we welcome that creation of the fund also, no, that will help yung mga medium-income and low-income countries fight COVID-19. Kaka-launch lang po yan at ako naman po, kampante ko na whatever the mechanism is, we have a permanent mission in the United Nations and that all requests to tap that fund will be coursed through the DFA and our permanent mission in the United Nations.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Yusek. Joseph Morong, please.
Sir, good afternoon. Sir, sa China muna, no? Did I hear you correctly na you said that it is not a strong statement, the President's statement sa the UNGA?
It's a restatement of what has been the Philippine policy on China. Na hindi natin po pwede ibaliwalain ang panalo natin sa Hague. Paulit-ulit na po sinasabi yan ng ating Presidente sa iba't ibang forum, pero for the first time, sinabi po niya sa UN General Assembly.
Sir, but the President also said and this is probably strong, I don't know if you will agree, he said that he will reject efforts to undermine it.
Sinabi
What
na
will
po
those efforts be?
Sinabi
No,
na
what
rin
will
po
those
yan
efforts be?
na ating presidente sa maraming pagkakataon, no? Na nandyan na yung panalong yan, hindi natin yan babaliwalain, no? At kahit anong sabihin ng kahit sino na hindi nila kikilalanin yung decision na yan, ang katotohanan ay go back to Article 38 of the ICJ Charter. Yan po ay ebidensya ng existence of a customary norm na hindi na po pwedeng burahin. So, ang tinutukoy po dyan ng ating presidente, kahit anong physical military occupation nila sa mga isla na ang sabi naman ng tribunal ay kabahagi na ating exclusive economic zone, will never ripen into a valid legal title.
How about presence of the Chinese Coast Guard near our EEZ? Does that
Well,
undermine
alam niyo po,
the
sa
effort?
EEZ kasi lahat po ng mga sasakyan ay may kalayaang maglayag, no? So, yung paglalayag po mismo sa EEZ ay hindi po pinagbabawal, no? So anyone, yun nga po ang pinaglalaban ng buong mundo na ma-maintain na po yung tinatawag nating freedom of navigation sa EEZ ng Pilipinas at dun sa mas malaki pang bahagi ng South China Sea.
Okay. Sir, probably for you and for Dr. Vega. Sir, yung question po would be, our research, no, GMA News research has also discovered, no, found out na yung rate natin ng critical cases ay 0.3, naging na siyang 3.1 September 22. Where do we attribute, sir, the increase in the critical cases, and what would the profile of the patients be, and what is our solution, sir?
Perhaps I will defer to Dr. Vega. Doc Vega, critical
Okay,
care.
sir.
All right. Thank you, Secretary. Thank you for the question, Joseph. Alam mo, yung 3.1 na tumaas na mga 2 percentage points, mga 2 days ago yan which we noticed mga 3 days ago. And nag-start yan sa 3.1, ngayon 3.0. Binavalidate namin sa lahat ng mga intensive care units ngayon, critical units. Kasi nakikita mo dito sa Metro Manila, adequate pa naman, sapat yung number of ICU beds natin, hindi pa nasi-strain. But we're also, we're trying to find out kung ano yung reasons na bakit tumaas to ng 2 percentage point. In fact, yung aming regional director at saka aming surveillance, tinitingnan na ngayon yung mga critical patients na sa mga public and private hospitals to validate. So we will try to make sure na talagang the health system is capable of any kind of surge.
Sir, age profile?
Wala, hindi ko pa na kasi that's very new Bigla nga tumaas yung 2 percentage points And nagulat din kami, but hindi naman nakaka-alarma dahil ang capacity ng health system is there.
Sir, let's stay with you. Sir, meron pong proposal, at least pina-float yung idea na shift yung Metro Manila sa MGCQ. What do you think of it? Will this not overwhelm? Kaya po ba itong MGCQ sa Metro Manila? And then, shoot ko na lang po related. Si Bishop Arguelles said kay Spokesary, pwedeng hindi mag-wear ng mask. You should just rely on your faith. And then, sir, yun pong daw mga DOH encoders, 3 months nang hindi nakakatanggap ng kanilang salary.
Okay, yung first one, yung MGCQ, alam mo, Joseph, ang decision po niya ng IATF depends on yung doubling time ng virus at saka yung pangalawa, yung critical utilization rate ng mga hospitals. So, siguro after itong mga weeks ngayon, titingnan kung yung metrics ng critical care utilization ay bumababa na talaga. And then yung doubling time naman ng virus, lalampas na mga at least 11 to 14 days. Siguro by that time, if we will be able to also parang decrease the number of positive cases, na yung positivity rate natin ay magiging below 10 o between 5 to 9, siguro yun ang mga metrics ngayon titingnan ng IATF kung bubuksan na talaga with MGCQ. So
okay,
kailangan ng data talaga.
Opo. Sir, yung DOH encoders daw, sir, wala pang mga sweldo.
Yun ang ano, ano namin ngayon dyan sa Administrative and Finance Division, trying to find out kasi na-report yan sa amin the other day and tinatrabaho na ng Admin and Finance Division on lalong-lalo na itong mga encoders na sakop naman ng mga sa Bayanihan 1 or at saka Bayanihan 2 ngayon.
Secretary Roque, thank you, sir. Secretary Roque.
Yes, please.
Sir, yung kay Bishop Arguelles na sabi na, well, pwedeng hindi mag-wear ng mask, we should just rely on your faith. And then yun daw pong Ilocos Norte will stay open kahit undas.
Well, una po kay Bishop, sir, I hope we stick to our roles in society. Ang mga bishops po kinakailangan sa pananampalataya lang ng tao, pero napatunayan na po ng siyensya at ng mga doktor na napaka-epektibo po ng pagsusuot ng face mask para maiwasan po ang COVID. Sana po gamitin na lang natin yung impluwensya natin sa lipunan para tulungan yung bayan na mabawasan ang kaso ng COVID. I-encourage po natin ang pagsusuot ng face mask kesa po i-discourage, no? Pagdating po sa
Ilocos Norte, sir.
Ilocos, hindi ko po alam kung ano ang gagawin ng Ilocos Norte, pero sa tingin ko naman po ay dahil ang DILG naman po ay nakaupo rin sa IATF at ang suwestyon na isarado ang mga semeteryo ay minungkahi nga ni DILG Secretary Anyo mismo, ay alam na ng mga lokal na opisyales ng posibleng repercussions kapag hindi po sumunod dito sa direktiba ng IATF.
Alright, sir. So, Secretary Roque, Secretary Vega, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Back to you, Sec. Rocky.
Okay, Secretary, ang tanong ni Joyce Balancio, ni Virgil Lopez, ni Julie
Bayanihan laban sa COVID-19. DZXL 558 Radyo Trabaho. Special coverage. Lumipas at magbago ang panahon. Iisa